A mother is missing her 16-year-old daughter. We need to find her and bring answers to this family.
This is Kiely Rodni. In August of 2022, she disappeared without a trace following a big party.
And Kiely, we love you, and if you see this, please just come home. I want nothing more than to hug you.
Her family was desperate. The police were at a loss. In the end, it wasn't the police who found her, but a specialized group of volunteer divers. She was found several feet underwater.
Have them find her upside down in her car in the lake was just, thinking about the panic she must have felt was just heartbreaking. I have 2 daughters. She has a daughter. You know, you just really feel for her family.
What happened to Kiely? Did she get a DUI straight into the lake, or did someone at the party have very dark intentions that night? And why didn't the police find her, since they also searched the lake? This is the full story of Kiely Rodni and her very strange death. Today's story takes place in Truckee, California. It's a hot, small town with a strange and dark history. In 1846, a group of American pioneers called the Donner Party were moving through California when they got stuck right where Truckee is today. Heavy snow and harsh weather kept them hostage for so long that they turned to cannibalism to survive, eating their former friends. More than half of them died, and those who survived were never the same again. Luckily, Truckee is a warmer, more peaceful, and welcoming place today, home to around 17,000 people. In 2022, it was also home to Kiely Rodni, a 16-year-old girl who had tons of friends and a constant smile on her face. Kiely was born in 2006. Sure, that sounds young, but she had done a ton of things in her life. She was a musician with huge aspirations and had a lot of plans for her career. Kiely's friends and family all remember the same girl, kind-hearted, always happy to help others, and friendly to everyone around her. She had her head on her shoulders and never made any enemies. This is precisely what makes this case so strange. On August 5th, 2022, Kiely was getting ready for a very fun night out. She put on a bit of makeup, kissed her mom Lindsay goodbye, and headed out to a huge party at the Prosser family campground, 17 miles away from Lake Tahoe and 36 miles away from Reno, Nevada. When I say huge party, I mean it. Around 300 teenagers attended. Needless to say, things got a little out of control. There was loud music, drinking, and chaos well into the morning hours of the next day. Lindsay was all too aware that there was underage drinking at the party, so by midnight, she began feeling a little worried and she wanted to know if her daughter was all right. But before she could send her a text, Kiely texted her. She'd be home in about 45 minutes, she said. Lindsay texted her back, asking her to drive safely. She ended the message with, "I love you," and her daughter wrote back, "Okay, Mom, I love you too." It was a simple and beautiful message to receive from your teenage daughter. But there's a tragic twist to it. This was the very last message Lindsay would ever receive from Kiely. Kiely never made it home that night, or the next day, or the next. Her parents were desperate. Millions of scenarios were running through their minds. Had someone done something horrible to Kiely at that party? Had she run away? Was there a secret about Kiely's life that her family didn't know? In the early hours of August 6th, Lindsay called the emergency services and reported her daughter missing. While the police were assembling a big search force, she made a plea on TV.
We just want her home. We're so scared and we miss her so much and we love her so much. And Kiely, we love you, and if you see this, please just come home. I want nothing more than to hug you.
Because now, Lindsay was considering all scenarios. She was thinking her daughter might have run away from home, under the influence of alcohol, narcotics, or simply a big rebel group of friends. She even considered a kidnapping case. So she wanted to assure the kidnapper that nothing would happen to them if they just sent Kiely home.
And we're not looking to bust anybody else or get anybody in trouble. We just want to see our daughter home.
Kiely thus became an urgent topic of discussion on TV.
Kiely Rodni was last seen August 6, 2022. She was driving a silver 2013 Honda CR-V, license plate number 8 Yankee Uniform Romeo 127.
These were enough clues to start a search with, but the Truckee police really seemed at a loss here. They searched the camp, the forest, the hills, and the lake, but Kiely was nowhere to be found. But there was another step in the investigation, tracking down Kiely's last movements, specifically at the party. The first interesting detail was that Kiely's phone was turned off half an hour after midnight on August 6th. This was also around the same time fellow partygoers remembered seeing or talking to her. None of the teenagers revealed shocking information, but there was a few uncanny details about her clothing that night. Kiely had come to the party wearing this hoodie.
At this point, we don't want to compromise the investigation, so this was the only photo we were able to release.
Odd future. It's a music collective, sure, but to wear it on the same night you vanish? Sheesh. Then, as the police officers spoke to Kiely's friends, it got even spookier. A few witnesses said that Kiely had borrowed another hoodie later at the party. It was this one. This is a Lana Del Rey hoodie, reading the following lyrics on the chest. You don't want to be forgotten, you just want to disappear. How uncanny is that? And to make matters more mysterious, no one claimed the hoodie was theirs, but it certainly wasn't Kiely's, so who did she borrow it from? And why didn't they come out? Underneath the hoodie, Kiely was wearing a black spaghetti strap bodysuit, green Dickies pants with a black grommet belt, and black Vans that night. She was spotted on CCTV at a truck stop on the evening of August 5th. Now, the sheriff's office had enough information to continue their search. But as the investigation continued, they got more questions than answers. Weeks had passed since Kiely's disappearance, and the police were getting nowhere near finding her. In fact, they even spoke about how frustrated they were that none of the teenagers at the party were coming forward with information. There were 300 people there. Someone must have known something. Why were they keeping quiet? According to criminal defense attorneys, teenagers are especially reluctant to talk to police during an investigation. They are afraid of getting in trouble and being arrested just for knowing or witnessing something. So the police let them know that they would be collaborating with the detectives, not be investigated by them.
Unfortunately, it doesn't. And, it's very hard. I'm a criminal defense attorney, so naturally, my inclination is to tell every single kid that was there to have a lawyer, because they may say something innocuous, and that could be taken in a way to indicate that something happened that didn't.
But, lawyer or not, Kiely's friends were supposed to talk to the police, not hide information from them.
The problem is it's imperative for these kids to provide information if they have information. And so it's really difficult to balance, especially if you're one of the parents of one of these kids that may have information.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen at all. One person spoke up though, Nick, a roadside assistant. In the early morning of August 6th, he got a call about a car battery not working. It was Kiely's Honda. She was stuck around Boca Lake, just north of Prosser Creek, where she disappeared.
At first, when I went there, I realized after my test that, everything was working great on the vehicle. At that point in time, I did notice that she was very hesitant and very skeptical on everything that was going on. She was asking me really weird questions, in the sense of, how do you put on your seatbelt correctly? And okay, and she asked me to show her on how to connect it to her actual belt. After that, she was stating on how she was there all night and she couldn't get her vehicle started due to the fact that now we both realized it was in neutral. She was wearing a sweatshirt, so it looked like she has been there for quite a while.
Kiely was not alone at Boca Lake.
Also, there was a guy there that was with her at time being. He was wearing a black San Francisco flat top ball cap facing forwards, brown hair that's sticking out just a little bit on the sides. It was kind of they were both kind of at unease is what it looked like for me, as if either they had a crazy night or a crazy day, or there's something going on I couldn't know, and at the time I didn't realize what was going on.
This was around the same time Lindsay was reporting her daughter missing. Nick had no idea people were already worrying about Kiely. In fact, he thought nothing of the situation, just a very young couple or two teenage buddies after a rough night. Maybe they were very tired or confused after drinking too much the night before, but they didn't seem to be on good terms with each other. Nick remembers seeing Kiely get away from the boy whenever he would come closer to her. As they stood outside the car and spoke to Nick, they always stood on opposite sides of the car or several feet away from each other. Was she afraid of him? Had the relationship between them soured that night, and did they have a relationship at all?
Did she seem high or intoxicated or?
I thought that maybe she was either hungover or just had a really rough day. She looked distressed.
If anyone has more video that they have not submitted, please, there's no small amount of information for us. And more witness accounts from the party. If you have not come forward, if you were there and you saw something, please come forward and let us know.
300 law enforcement officers were on the case in the fall of 2022, and 1,200 tips poured in, but none were from the teenagers, and none were actually useful in the search for Kiely Rodni.
Had over like 9,000 man hours into searching, which is pretty astronomical. Our biggest problem is where do we go and how do we keep sustaining this?
That's when the sheriff's office got in touch with the group, Adventures with Purpose.
We received tens of thousands of requests as well as multiple phone calls from different agents and detectives. So at that point, we're just a vessel of the community.
Adventures with Purpose is a group of volunteer divers who conduct search parties for communities across the United States. The police had searched the bodies of water around the Prosser family campground, including Big Prosser Lake, but they couldn't find anything. However, specialist divers Doug Bishop and Nick Wren have better equipment in this field.
Yes, we use cutting-edge Garmin sonar technology. It provides us a down imaging side scan as well as a live scope image. And between the three, we're able to manipulate that to get an accurate reading of what it is that we're seeing.
So by the end of August, Doug and Nick were involved in the case too.
Tomorrow marks 2 weeks since the Truckee teenager disappeared after attending a party at a campground. We are learning tonight that a new group of volunteers are coming from out of state to help find her.
Everybody just wants the same outcome. It doesn't matter who finds her.
Kylie's parents hadn't given up either. Lindsay continued to make pleas on TV just in case Kiely was watching.
I love her so much. So many people love her. And we're all looking and we're trying so hard. And I'm so sorry we haven't found you yet, but we're not giving up and just hang in there, sweetie.
One by one, Doug and Nick cleared the lakes and reservoirs where Kiely could have fallen in with her car. They were especially careful with the areas where someone could have dumped the car with Kiely in it. Steep hills going straight into the lake. But within a few days, the team cleared all big lakes except for the one closest to the camp, which the police had already searched. It was Prosser Creek Reservoir. On August 21st at 10:40 a.m., Doug and Nick put on their diving equipment and went underwater in Prosser Lake.
Time is 10:41. We are now on Prosser Creek Reservoir. This is, according to law enforcement, Kiely's last known location.
The police had even searched the reservoir with helicopters, and they concluded that they could see the bottom, and it was clear. Doug and Nick were pretty certain they were searching in vain, but they had to cross it off their list. By 11:15, they emerged with Kylie's Honda CR-V. Inside the car was a body, but it had been underwater for so long it was heavily decomposed, and they couldn't identify it straight away.
The discovery of Kiely Rodni's car and presumably her inside of it answers a question that her loved ones have been struggling with for more than 2 weeks now, but it also raises many questions.
Indeed, there were several questions about this quick and tragic find. Had Kiely been forcefully taken away from the party? Was she trying to get away from someone? Had she had a terrible accident, or was it all staged? Then there was the $1 million question, which arose as soon as the body was sent to the lab for a full autopsy. Doug and Nick had found Kylie's car 55 feet away from the shore of Prosser Lake. Why weren't the police able to find her for 2 whole weeks? They'd claimed to have searched the lake and its surroundings, even using helicopters. Something was off. What's more, Kylie's phone had actually pinged off Prosser Lake too. So they knew where they should be looking, and according to them, they did look.
How did we not find it when we were searching? The lake was extensively searched with side sonar, with an ROV. We had divers, we had swimmers. I think that's part of what we're gonna have to go back to do and debrief.
Debrief all you like, but the fact still remains very questionable. Hopefully, it's just incompetence and not foul play, or the police covering for someone. Finally, almost 3 weeks after Kylie's disappearance, the Rodni family was delivered the grim news. The body found inside the Honda was indeed hers.
We really want to recognize the reason why we're all here, and that is for this family. We've said that from day one.
The toxicology report identified ethanol, nicotine, caffeine, cotinine, and delta-9 carboxy THC in Rodni's system. In other words, she'd been drinking and smoking cigarettes and weed on the night of the party. It was a sad and brutal end to a life with a bright future, and it made so little sense. Kiely's friends and family thought hard about any strange events prior to the party, but no one knew anything. Did Kiely have a dark secret, or did something horrible and unexpected happen at the party, unrelated to Kiely's past life? After the news of Kiely's death flooded the media, another strange clue came in. One of Kiely's friends, Samantha Smith, told The Independent that the two had spoken on the phone at around 12:30 a.m. on the night of the party. Reportedly, the girls had been planning to go home together, with Kiely driving. But then when they spoke, they figured they should change their plans. Kiely had drunk way too much to drive that night, so Samantha thought it was wiser if she found someone else to drive them home. Samantha made her own plans and left Kiely at the party. But minutes later, her phone would be turned off and she would go off the radar. So if Kiely knew she was too inebriated to drive and even confessed this to her friend, how come she was behind the wheel, driving her Honda right into the lake? Did she change her mind at the last minute and decide to drive home, disregarding her state of inebriation? Or did someone make her do this? It's also possible she was killed outside of her car and then placed in the driver's seat and pushed into the lake. Considering how badly decomposed her body was when she was found, it was impossible to tell if she had been strangled first, for example. Kiely's family will forever be haunted by this story, as long as no answers are revealed. Kiely's borrowed Lana Del Rey spoke about disappearing and being forgotten, and she wore these very lyrics as she lost her life in a strange and senseless way. It's hard to imagine that the person who lent her the hoodie knew what was about to happen, but the police are not eliminating scenarios. Considering Nick's account of a very uncomfortable Kiely the morning after the party and the strange boy with her, nothing is impossible. In one final odd twist, Doug from Adventures with Purpose received a strange Facebook message while they were looking for Kiely.
The Truckee Facebook missing persons groups are on fire with speculation about what happened to Kiely. Thing is that some of it may not be speculation. It may be real clues as to what happened. The party, 200 plus, fact is there was a lot of drinking and drugging. Reported fights, some disturbing behavior between Kiely and a girl named minutes before the party suddenly breaking up. And then cars started flying out of the parking lot. Something bad happened and all the kids' parents told them not to get involved.
Doug and Nick weren't surprised about this message. They are certain Kiely was the victim of foul play. First off, this happened right after a 300 guest party with alcohol, illegal substances, and fights. It's very likely something bad happened and the teens are working hard to cover it up. Secondly, the way they found her car indicated someone put her there.
So Nick is my diver.
Which window's up or down?
Driver rear.
Driver rear was down and the passenger rear was halfway.
Is she seatbelted in?
No.
Is she in the driver's seat?
No.
She's not.
No.
She's
in the back?
She's in the back.
Finally, Nick's story is truly worrying. Who was the guy with Kiely, and why was she uncomfortable around him? Why was she not home by the morning of August 6th? And why was she asking strange questions? Sadly, we may never get the answers to these questions. Kiely's story shook everyone in Truckee.
Have them find her upside down in her car in the lake was just, thinking about the panic she must have felt was just heartbreaking. I have 2 daughters. She has a daughter. You know, you just really feel for her family.
Whether you have a family or not, hearing how Kiely lost her life definitely strikes a chord. She was a young girl who never hurt a fly and was kind to everyone around her. She had a million dreams and plans and was very excited about her future. Quite the opposite of the suicidal type. Kiely's family was devastated to learn the news of their daughter's death, but they showed strength and gratitude to those who helped them crack the case. We have weathered a storm of unfathomable force, and it is purely thanks to the army of warriors, matriarchs, healers and helpers holding us up that we continue to stand today. Their last statement was perhaps the most moving one. While we accept this sadness cast under death's shadow, the rising sun shines light upon us, reminding us not to mourn our loss, but to celebrate Kiely's spirit and the gift that we all received in knowing her. Kiely will surely remain with us, even though we will not get her back. But will they ever be able to accept that someone knows something about Kiely's death and they're keeping quiet? Will they keep digging for answers? And will anyone decide to speak up? Kiely's brutal end following the massive party is unsettling. How many more terrible cases must happen before the witness decide to come forward? Was Kiely murdered, or was it just a sad accident? Let me know what you think down in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Till next time, and stay safe.